Hello, everybody, and how are you today? Welcome to another edition of Cuppa Chat with Celine. So, for those of you who might be watching later on, it's Sunday, the 25th of April 2020, and we are still very much in the middle of isolation due to COVID-19. And so, one of the things that I kind of decided to do was just to be able to kind of add a little bit of maybe just some wisdom or some light for those of us who want to grow through this time rather than just go through it. And so, I'm sharing some of, I suppose, the learnings and wisdoms that I'm picking up as I'm going through some of the books that I'm studying, etc. So, if you didn't get to watch the first episode around the seven decisions, the book that I'm actually kind of sharing from at the moment, I encourage you to kind of go back on that. But I am going to give a little bit of a recap as we go forward from here. But I just want you all to know right from the outset that I'm praying for you. If any of you do any, if you've got any concerns or you would like some specific prayer, please don't hesitate to reach out to me as we continue to grow through this. So, decision number one was the responsibility decision. The buck stops here. And I suppose a little bit of the things, maybe some extra little bit of homework for you after you've gone back and watched that if you haven't, or if you did already, just some of the things to think about. When you do take responsibility, when you play above the line, and rather than dropping into blame, shame, and justify, which we will, by the way, it's okay, we are human, so we will. But when we actually play above the line, what does that look like? What could we actually take responsibility for? There's some really good questions in here further into the book. And again, I'm going to be referring to the book, but I'm going to encourage you to go get the 7 decisions. I think it's a really, really powerful book to be able to refer back to on a regular basis. But if you were taking responsibility, here are some questions for you today. What would your relationships look like within your family, socially, and professionally? What would they look like if you were taking responsibility to play above the line? What would your finances look like? What would your business affairs look like? And I think that those ones are really relevant at the moment. Many people that I've been talking to, some of the fear attached to the current situation that we are in is actually around finances. Nothing else. A lot of people are actually enjoying the opportunity to do a reset, to calm down, to actually reconnect with relationships, to have those deeper conversations that they might not have had, to reset their health. Okay, some great opportunities. But it's also a fantastic opportunity to reset your finances, to really look at and learn some skills around that. Really encourage you to look at that. Because if you can be in a place where you're not having to come from scarcity, and I don't mean having lots of money in the bank or anything like that, but actually preparing ahead of time, looking at how you can be saving a few dollars. And right now at the moment, to be really honest, it is an opportunity for us to be able to save some dollars if we think about what we would just kind of spend just incidentally as we were going around life, through life in the former way, like that coffee here or there, or that takeout here or there, or that restaurant meal here or there. I'm not saying don't do those things, but I know even for myself, I'm unsubscribing from so many emails where I might be, might in the past been tempted to kind of go, I might get that or whatever like that. I'm actually asking myself as we go through this opportunity to reset, is that something I really need? Is that something that's actually going to add value to my life or to others? Or is that just commercialism at its strongest? And again, it's really coming back down to what is important. And that could be important for somebody else. That's cool. There's no judgment here at all. But it's just a great opportunity to actually tighten the belts, to look at your resources, and to actually look at where we've had the conversation maybe in the past where I can't afford to save. Now we ask the question, can we afford not to? I think that's really important. So if you right now, for whatever you are, were taking responsibility for your finances, what would that look like? For those of you who are involved in business, what are your business affairs looking like? And, if you were taking responsibility for them, what would that look like? I was listening to a fantastic webinar the other day with a guy called Phil Norsworthy. Absolutely brilliant. Look him up. And, he talked about the fact that as we come through this, one of the things that's actually going to show up is character. The character of a leader is going to really, really show up in this time. Skills, yep, they'll come, and they're very, very important, but the character will actually bring you through. I thought that was fantastic. If you were taking responsibility, what would your overall emotion patterns look like? Okay. Would you be the master of your emotions? How will you know when you're truly happy? A lot of us spend our time going, I'll be happy when. If then, then, okay, then I will be happy. When I've got more money, I'll be happy. When I'm more educated, I'll be happy. When I've got this relationship, I'll be happy. When the kids, get to school, I'll be happy. When, we go back to work, I'll be happy. What about focusing, if we were to take responsibility of being happy in the moment, okay, being happy right now? And for me, I think one of the most important things of where happiness actually truly comes from is being grateful for the moment. So being grateful for what we've got, how we get to show up, for the blessings that we've got, roof over our head, a pillow to put our head on at night, food and that. And so many of us, I suppose, in the Western world, and especially here in Australia, we have got so much to be grateful for. And so taking that time when we step into gratitude, I think happiness actually follows very, very closely behind. In what areas of your life will you grow the most if you were taking responsibility? What will you attract into your life as a consequence of your growth? Okay, now is a great opportunity to be able to think about that. And again, I'm not talking about, adding more and more layers of complexity. Now it might be a time to actually go back and just revisit some of the things that you had started and never finished, or to actually look at the skills you've learned but never applied. I think that's the really, really important thing. We know that, knowledge is powerful, but it's actually not. It's the implementation of that knowledge. So what are some of the things that maybe you've learned in the past, or you started studying and never finished, or whatever that might be, books that you haven't completed reading or you haven't applied, taking that time. How would you handle yourself in difficult circumstances or situations? Now is a great opportunity to learn that, isn't it? Because, there are definitely some difficult parts in this journey that we're going through right now. How are we handling ourselves? How are we handling our emotions? And how will you grow spiritually? For me, this has been a really, really important time to actually reset my spiritual journey and really look at how it is that I'm showing up. Okay, so that's the recap of number 1. What's number 2? Okay, so the number 2 decision is the guided decision. I will seek wisdom. And I love this. I really do love this, because for me, one of the things I learned early on in my journey was to make sure that I had mentors and coaches and people in my life where I could actually seek wisdom from. And I look at that in all different areas, and whether that's spiritually, mentally, business-wise, whatever like that, is looking at who are those people that I can seek wisdom from. So he talks about, so again, just in case you haven't kind of got the book, it's Andy Andrews, The 7 Decisions, that I'm actually referring to at the moment. So I really encourage you to go out and get the book, and to log on to his website as well, because there are so many amazing resources. So what does Andy actually say about the guided decision, I will seek wisdom? God moves mountains to create the opportunity of his choosing. It is up to you to be ready to move yourself. Your past cannot be changed, but you will change your future by changing your actions today. The guided decision teaches us to actively seek wisdom to help us craft lives of extraordinary achievement. So just think about the people that you've got in your life at the moment, or you've got in your circle at the moment. Would you choose wisdom from them? And if not, maybe there's an opportunity for you to start to actively think about who are some of the mentors or coaches or people that I could add to my life. Now, I know some of you straight away are saying, and I know that this was me early on in the thing, I can't afford to hire a coach or to get a mentor or whatever like that. Just a few little hints and tips. Some of my earliest mentors were actually authors of books. The mentors I found were the mentors that were in the pages of those books. The webinars that we get to listen to, I mean, today more than ever, we have resource that is free right at our fingertips. But you know what I've noticed is sometimes because it's free, we don't value it as much. Honestly, I mean, the webinar, for example, that I listened with to Phil the other day, I mean, absolute gold, and put on for us by the Direct Selling Association, completely free to us as members. And it was absolutely gold. So don't devalue something because it is free. Look at what some of the resources are. And mentors, there will be mentors within whatever profession that you're actually in that are only too happy to help you, to offer assistance, to offer wisdom, if you are courageous enough to ask. And I think that's, again, one of the most important things. One of the beautiful mentors in my life, I remember him saying at the time when I reached out to him, and he gave me a whole day of his time, okay, a whole day of his time. And I said to him, I'm so grateful. And he says, look, he says, for all of the people that I put out, that I said to, You know, I'm here, reach out if you need some help. I had met him at a conference, he had done a talk, and that he said you were the only person who actually reached out. And so he was only too happy to give that time. Now I am forever grateful that we are friends, and he is a mentor and coach of mine, and that. So thank you, Richard, for how you sow into my life. But so I've got so many different people like that. That yes, I do pay coaches, and I do pay people as well to be able to have that services on an ongoing basis. But I have also had so many people speak into my life for free because I was prepared to ask, and the same goes in return, where people have asked me for my time. I'm only too happy because I figure if they're courageous enough to ask, they actually genuinely want to be able to have some wisdom spoken into their lives. So let's have a little look to see what Andy says about I will seek wisdom. Knowing that wisdom waits to be gathered, I will actively search her out. My past can never be changed, but I can change the future by changing my actions today. I will change my actions today. I will train my eyes and ears to read and listen to books and recordings that bring about positive changes in my personal relationships and a greater understanding of my fellow man and woman. No longer will I bombard my mind with material that feeds my doubts and fears. Side note, especially at the moment, people, be very wise about where you're choosing to get your information from as we go through this journey we're on. I will read and listen only to that which increases my belief in myself and my future. I will seek wisdom. I will choose my friends with care. I am who my friends are. I speak their language and I wear their clothes. I share their opinions and habits. From this moment forward, I will choose to associate with people whose lives and lifestyles I admire. If I associate with chickens, I will learn to scratch at the ground and squabble over the crumbs. But if I associate with eagles, I will learn to soar great heights. I am an eagle. It is my destiny to fly. I will seek wisdom. I will listen to the counsel of wise men and women. The words of a wise man are like raindrops on dry ground. They are precious and quickly used for immediate results. Only the blade of grass that catches a raindrop will prosper and grow. The person who ignores wise counsel is like the blade of grass untouched by the rain, soon to wither and die. When I counsel with myself, I can only make decisions according to what I already know. By counseling with a wise man, I can add his knowledge and experience to my own and dramatically increase my success. I will seek wisdom. I will be a servant to others. A wise man will cultivate a servant spirit, for that particular attribute attracts people like no other. As I humbly serve others, their wisdom will be freely shared with me. Often the person who develops a servant's spirit becomes wealthy beyond measure. Many times a servant has the ear of the king, and a humble servant becomes king. For he is popular choice of people. He who serves the most grows the fastest. And I really want to come back to that line. He or she who serves the most grows the fastest. Oftentimes people think when we hear the word servant leadership, for example, that you're allowing people to walk over you or not. It's not about that. I'm brought back to the story of when, Jesus actually serves the disciples, the apostles, by actually washing their feet. And, yet he was that greatest leader. There's nothing wrong with being humble and looking at how we can better serve people. And that service sometimes can be about talking truth into people's lives. So it's actually about being quite strong and being, making sure that you're speaking the truth into somebody's life so that there is a lesson in there. But it's also about being that person that they can come to in times of need. It's that person that they know that if they reach out to you, that there will be an ear to listen and a heart to feel and maybe that hug. But there's also that opportunity to be that kick up the bum if somebody needs that truth, that voice of truth into what is going on, that wisdom to be able to see what path they are following and maybe speak into that. So I just want to say to you that when we talk about here, and when Andy actually talks about he who serves the most grows the fastest, it's that we know by helping more and more people, we have the opportunity to be able to grow ourselves. It's really important. I will become a humble servant. I will not look for someone to open my door. I will look to open the door for someone else. I will not be distressed when no one is available to help me. I will be excited when I am available to help. I will be a servant to others. I will listen to the counsel of wise men and women. I will choose my friends with care. I will seek wisdom. So that's just something to kind of, I suppose, think about over this next, week or so. How is it that you can actually seek wisdom? How is it that you can actually look for mentors in your life? And I said it could be through conversations that you have with people. It could be searching out the right people that can actually speak truth into your life, that can speak wisdom into your life. Or it could be going to books or webinars or whatever it is that you've already got. I'm not saying go out and get a whole heap of new resources. You probably have lots that you already have access to and you have forgotten about them. And most of all, I'm going to encourage each and every one of you to take a moment each day to find 2 or 3 things that you are grateful for. Start the beginning of your day in gratitude. Finish the end of your day in gratitude. And let's see what that actually does for your emotional revenue. What does it actually do to kind of change how you show up day in, day out? I'm going to encourage you on that. So for me, I am going to finish in gratitude. I'm grateful for every single one of you that give me the opportunity to be able to show up how I get to be able to show up, how I really want to show up, how I feel that God has destined for me to show up. And that is in service to others, in being hopefully able to speak some wisdom into your life and anybody else's. So if you feel that this might be useful for somebody that you know, please share and invite others to come on the journey with us as we just talk about having a cuppa and chat with me and just talk about what happens, whatever happens to come up. Anyhow, take care. God bless. Love you all. Stay safe.